very excited because me and my brothers and sisters, my sister got stuck. She was chest deep in, and I was holding her so she wouldn't go any deeper. My brother ran for my dad. Everything was okay, but we got such a hard-ass whooping that it left such a big impression on our young minds that nobody was even thinking of crossing the old man again for fear of his wrath. We followed it deep into the bog, and it led towards the frozen water. Like just frozen enough to maybe hold a small animal. Definitely not a grown man or even a toddler. I don't know if spirits leave tracks, but we don't know what that was. If there were a track towards the old stables and a track out, it would have made sense, but it did not. And my dad was pretty spooked by this. Story 4. When I was 13, and we were playing Mario Kart 64 on the Nintendo 64, my dad and my mum went to my dad's weekly game of billiards with his friends in the pub. We were old enough that we did not need a babysitter. Me and my sister below me were the babysitters, and there was only ever one rule. Never open the front door or back door for anyone, even when there is knocking. Even if it's someone you know, don't open it. Just talk through the mailbox in the door, and when there was a problem, we had the phone number of the pub. This was before mobile phones. We were playing with the 4 controllers, and we switched regularly so everyone was playing. In the corner of my eye, I saw a big, dark thing moving from the left to the right of the kitchen. I was so focused on getting at least one victory to get my brothers off my back, I didn't look, only focused on the screen. When my sister said, "Who else saw that dark thing in the kitchen?" From the 8 children there, 5 saw it, including me. Little old me did not want to call Dad and mess up and lose my babysitting privileges, because it's awesome when you get the house parent-free as a 13-year-old snotling. So me and my 2 brothers sucked it up, got up, and searched everywhere and everything. Under the beds, in the closets, bathroom, everything, but there was nothing. The windows were still shut, so we waited until Dad got home, and he was angry that we were not in bed. So we told him what happened. He said nothing much, and put us in bed. That was a very scary night trying to sleep, and most importantly, I did not lose my babysitting privileges. This 5th story happened so many times while growing up. As far as I know, my dad says it's still happening, and it happened when he was little as well, as he grew up on that very farm. In the middle of the night, a very loud knock on the front door will happen, like one knock. Not every night, but maybe it's more than we know, because it's always just one, and it happens at different times. You need to be awake, otherwise you won't hear it. It's not just the old house making noises. I know every sound the house makes. It's a single knock, right on the front door. The same goes for the feeling of being watched a lot, like there's something behind you, but weirdly not in the house, always in the barns or stables. And I think I've seen the person from my first story more times in that stable out of the corner of my eye than I care to remember. And they say animals can sense things. I think that's partially true. Like our farm dogs, they don't care, they go anywhere on the farm. We have 4 horses in the stables and they're never spooked. Only the cats can act weird. Like they go in and terrorize the mice in there, but sometimes they won't even go in. Even when you pick them up and walk them in, they are very weirdly meowing and making weird sounds. They feel uncomfortable. Anyway, growing up with lots of children, those cats are the easiest and friendliest animals out there. They'll allow you to do anything to them, except when the barn is feeling creepy. I joined my school's camping trip to Malaysia when I was 14. I no longer remember where it was, but it was pretty close to Penang. I loved camping, and this trip was pretty unique. Showers and bunk beds over the ocean blue. The toilets were just outhouses that emptied into the salty brine below. You could even see your business float away. Incredibly gross, but memorable. 100 teenage girls were going to sleep there for a week to experience village life, aka climbing coconut trees and flying traditional Malay, which I midway through the stay, my camp leader had allowed my group to use our sleeping bags to sleep on the wooden square. We were lulled to sleep by the slow, gentle waves. The wooden boards floated over the high tides, warping and sinking with our collective weight. A night full of stars. The sea breeze was cool and fresh. A few girls woke up to use the toilet. We had to go in groups of 3 wherever we went. I rolled in my sleeping bag and watched the shoreline. When I saw something floating on the waves, it was triangular and shrouded in black. I was too groggy to care, so I went along with the girls to use the outhouse. In the outhouse, something felt off. I felt watched in that cramped space. It didn't make sense. I looked down into the ocean below and stood still. The dim light of the outhouse shined to something floating below me. A line was attached to a shadowy figure. The end of the rope was attached to a metallic object stuck on the floorboards at the edge of the hole. I nearly tripped on it while I walked in. I thought it was a nail. The figure held onto the rope and was yanking it gently against the push of the waves. I realized the figure was floating on the triangular thing I saw earlier. My mind clicked with an eerie thought. It was a person, a real breathing person, on a man-made raft holding onto a rope with a hook, and I was blocking his way in. The shadowy figure looked at me from down below, the whites of his eyes looking into mine. I couldn't scream. I felt the rush of blood in my ears. The man smiled up at me, as if he wanted me to complete the show. I backed out of the outhouse and walked back to my group. The 2 girls with me didn't notice me shivering. The camp leader picked up on my shaking hands and asked me to step aside. I told him what I saw. The camp leader nodded silently. Like a big brother, he sternly told my group to enter our bunks quickly and silently. My group never caught on to what happened. They noticed my pale face, but I brushed it off to seasickness, sleeping on the top bunk. I saw torchlights running around the perimeter of the campsite. The official story to the increased activity that night was one of the outhouse's floorboards broke, and the camp leaders were trying to assess the damage. We completed the camp and went home. On the bus back home, my mind raced about that night. How long was the man watching us? My group was on the main platform for a good hour and a half. He could have been scouting areas to climb in. If he was waiting to climb through the outhouse for his moment, did he watch the girls use it too? Gross. You could clearly see the ocean below. He would have had a clear view too. And it still gives me chills whenever I think about it. I was hiking in the woods near my mum's house outside of Los Angeles. I have various health issues and have a medical alert dog called Riley that has been trained to do lots of different tasks such as detect seizures, help with directions, as well as various other helpful task services. In the past, whenever we've come getting late by this point. Might be worth mentioning that I come from a 420 family household, so please refrain from any judgment. We were just chilling, smoking a little joint when our camp neighbours pops out from his tent. He must have smelled our greens, so he came over and introduced himself. He was called Dan. He was around his mid-50s, 6 foot, give or to an inch. About ear-length, wazy, greasy-looking grey hair. Kinda made my skin crawl a bit, but So Dan comes up and introduces himself and asks to smoke with us. My friend and I didn't partake in the group chat, as we didn't really like to talk to these older people, as most teen girls wouldn't. So we just conversed amongst ourselves nearby so that we could still smoke, but far enough so that we wouldn't have to engage in the conversations with Dan. I wasn't too worried as I had my 2 older brothers and my dad there for protection. And one thing about the middle oldest brother is that he was wild and would probably attack the guy if he tried anything. But regardless, I was still aware of how much Buddy gave me the heebie-jeebies. However, he didn't try anything, so that was cool. Just play guitar with my dad and the oldest brother until we all decided to crash. That night, my friend and I decided to sleep on the picnic table. The tent with my dad felt far too small, and we felt too cool to share one with him. One of my brothers was already asleep in the car, and my eldest brother took off with his girlfriend to go sleep on the beach, so we decided to sleep on the table. Bad idea. We spent the whole night being eaten by mosquitoes and felt like we were being watched. It was a terrible 10 out of 10, would not recommend, and we slept in the car for the rest of the trip. The next morning, Dan popped up on us again, and we were all smoking a morning bowl while readying ourselves for breakfast. My dad, being the total gent that he is, invites Dan to come along. At this point, he seems normal enough, stinky but nice enough. Never said anything weird to me or my friend, but I could just feel something off about him. But again, I felt relatively safe with my family nearby. My dad's not that tall. He's fit, covered in tattoos with long hair and several facial piercings. Total metalhead despite his big heart and the male equivalent of a resting bee-face. So, breakfast started off normal. We're all baked and giggling, enjoying our scrumptious breakfast, when all of a sudden Dan pipes up, and he starts talking about the show Hannah Montana. We all exchange glances like, is this grown-ass man really talking about a tween television series? So we all sit back and listen. Dan goes on about how beautiful Miley Cyrus is, how much he hates the character Oliver, and how cool the character Lily was. We were all like, okay, is this dude real? And then the dinger gets thrown out there. This guy, this poor delusional man, starts telling us that he's in a relationship with Miley. That when she has a love interest in the show, it's really just a subliminal message that she's sending him, and that in her lyrics, that her music is for him. We obviously didn't question it because it's all pretty clear that this guy's off his rocker, so what would be the point?
Mental.
We just all nod our heads and hurry up finishing our breakfast. Nobody even had to say what we were all thinking, so we just all tried to shrug him off until he approached us again. We all kind of caught on to how weird he was, and everyone sort of steered clear from him from then on. Later that day, after we had digested our food for a bit and relaxed, we all decided to hit the beach. The part we went to was near a pier and a bunch of shops, so my friend and I decided to wander around and get a little time away from all the testosterone. We roamed the shops a little and pick out some cute necklaces and the works, then decide to head on over to the pier. Now the entrance of the pier has this little gazebo type stuff with tables and drinks and machines. So my friend and I decided we were going to plant our little tired asses there and cool off a bit. We're chilling, talking about the normal teen stuff when I spot Dan sitting a few tables behind ours. My friend was sitting with her back towards Dan's direction, so I quietly let her know that Dan was there watching us and that we should skedaddle. We get up and start heading towards the beach. We get off the pier and make it to the beach and think we're in the clear. We hadn't seen him get up after us, but of course, we were very wrong. Not long after entering the beach part of the area, we peep and he's wandering behind us, not too close, but close enough that it's blatantly obvious that he is indeed following. So we suddenly come up with a plan in case he gets a hold of us. We agree that we would jump him if he tried anything. We were two small teen girls, but my friend was a crazy little Gemini who's been doing kickboxing classes regularly. Roundhouse kick him
Fuck the Gemini.
very hard, and he wouldn't expect
They
it.
ain't shit.
So she made me feel brave and unafraid. The best kind of friend to have in a situation like this. However, as unafraid as I may have been, I still knew it would be best to find either one of my brothers or my father.
Geminis are weak.
Fortunately for us, we saw my brother and his girlfriend relaxing on the beach not too far ahead. So we hurried up on over to them and Dan veered off elsewhere. Once we were sure he was gone, we started telling my brother and his girlfriend that Dan had followed us. They were clearly bothered, but just told us to stay near and to keep an eye on.
I hate
And to let them know if anything weird happens. And that was that. No idea if he wanted to snatch us up or simply follow us around. I don't recall seeing Dan again that night, or on our last day there. His gear was gone by morning, and we all breathed a sigh of relief because, let's be real, however sad it may be that he was very clearly mentally ill, Dan was weird, and we were all pretty stoked to spend our last day without him. Our last day was great. We had a blast and Dan never returned, so we packed up, waved goodbye to Savannah, and we were laughing and discussed the crazy stuff that Dan had said on the trip. We could all agree that this seemingly super nice and normal middle-aged man had given us a trip to remember. So after about a week of being home, my dad watches the news. When guess who pops up on the screen? You guessed it. Headline: Miley Cyrus's stalker arrested in Savannah, Georgia after trying to gain access to studio, or something along those lines. It was 100% him, no mistaking as they said his name, and listed our vacay weekend in Savannah as the time of his place of arrest. And of course the picture solidified any prior doubts. It was him. So during that weekend when he wasn't with us, he was actively stalking Miley Cyrus, and was arrested for trying to get into the studio or whatever she was filming. And this is why he wasn't there on that day. So we decided to Google him. Turns out it wasn't the first time he'd been arrested for stalking her. He had been arrested a couple of different times in different states and had been following her around the country. He genuinely believed they were in love, and we found a video of him on YouTube being interviewed by some news dude. Different incident from the Savannah arrest. Dan was talking about how he was there to see Miley, and he was going to ask her to marry him. He looked so jittery and excited, like someone who was truly excited to propose to the love of their life. I think that part is what weirded me out the most. He really and truly believed in it with all his heart, and that, my friends, is terrifying to say the least. So there you have it, internet dwellers. The story of my camping trip with the official Miley Cyrus stalker. Story 6. In our village, there is an old textile factory in the middle that is now closed. It ran from 1890 to 1978. Back then it was a ruin. Now it's been rebuilt into luxurious apartments. It's 4 stories high. But back then it was a very scary building, and of course, the source of many scary stories. I was 17 years old. It was a Saturday night, and me and 2 friends came from the pub, back when the legal drinking age was 16. They bumped it up to 18 a few years back. So we had the brilliant idea to test our bravery and go into the factory. The place was forbidden. It was fenced off, but that did not stop us. We climbed the fence and went in anyway. Mind you, we did not have proper cell phones like now, with their flashlights and all that. We made our way in almost total darkness. I know this was a stupid and probably dangerous move. When we were on the 3rd floor, after walking in a good couple of feet, our hearts stopped. We heard movement, very slow, and when we stopped, it stopped as well. So we sprinted as fast as we could, and we made our way in the dark towards the exit. We were all freaking out. I think the alcohol had a lot to do with it too, and my friends were like, "Is this real?"
Yo. Hey, welcome to the gang. Thank you. You're welcome. I'll contact you if I need things done. Kid. Okay, got it, boss. See, kid. See you, boss. Hang up. There we are. Press play.
At the same time, we saw in the distance 4 younger teenagers running. My friend ran after them, and we followed my friend. We stopped the 4 boys and were like, "Were you guys just in the factory?" At first, they were scared of us, of course, like 3 older guys in hot pursuit of 4 younger guys, come on. But when they said that they were so relieved, we spooked each other out. I know it's not a ghost story, but for a second we thought it was, and it was still a good story to share. A few days later, I went in alone during the day just to see how it looked, and I discovered that we were very lucky. Because on the 3rd floor, right in the middle, it's collapsed on all the floors, and if you drop down 3 stories. So we were very fortunate that we stopped walking. This next story happened when I was 25. One of my sisters moved into a new house. It was very secluded, and there were only 2 houses there, and a party centre that was closed during the week. On the weekends it's open, and it's pretty quiet overall. After a month, I could tell something was bothering my sister. So I asked,
At
but she didn't
day,
want to share because she
I
said
work
it
as a
sounded stupid.
teacher.
But
At
in the end,
night,
she told
I'm a
me.
prostitute.
She says sometimes at night you could hear what sounds
Mummy?
like a little
Oh,
girl
no.
softly crying at the front of her house, and it was freaking her out. Because when she looked, there was nothing there, and it stopped when you opened the front door. She asked me to sleep over so that I could hear it as well, and I agreed. On the first night there was nothing, but on the second night I could hear it.
My
And it was
baby
like she
mama.
said. It was like a child crying very softly and slowly. I looked and nothing was there. I stayed for a third night and it happened again. And now my sister starts crying like she finally found her own place that she liked, and then this happens. Seeing my sister cry, I got annoyed at whatever was making the sound. So I opened the door and yelled, "Can you just leave us alone? You're not welcome here." And believe it or not, since then it stopped. So I don't know what I did exactly, or what it was, but my sister still lives there to this day, and has never had any more problems. This is my final story now, but it needs some explaining. Me and one of my sisters planned a movie night together. I got a key to her house. She was not there, so I let myself in, and I looked at a text on my phone that she would be a bit later because something happened at the hospital she works at, as she's a nurse. So at one point I got bored and started to play with her dog, taking pictures. And then, the next day, I noticed this picture. No, it's not my reflection. The face is much bigger and I have a full-grown beard, and still do. In that room there are no posters, paintings, TV screens, or anything with a reflective surface in that direction. And for clarification, it's not the same sister's house as the previous story. Still freaks me out. I wonder what it could have been. When I was 5, I went camping at a window. My head was by the driver's side window, and the tapping was at the passenger window by my feet. The sound immediately scared me, and I didn't open my eyes. I knew it couldn't be my dad, because he would have just knocked on that inside window, or opened it, if he needed to tell me something. The tapping kept up, about 7 taps at a time. Then they would just wait a few seconds and do it again. It sounded like they were tapping just loud enough to wake me, but not my dad. I considered the possibility of a tree branch touching the window. I remembered how far away the trees were. I could still hear my dad lightly snoring from the camera. Sometimes the tapping sounded like a short fingernail. Sometimes it sounded like the padded fingertip. I was scared to death. I could hear my heart pounding and my mind was racing. Suddenly the tapping started on the driver's side window right above my head. I almost jumped out my skin and twitched all over. My face had to have shown my fear and shown that I was not sleeping. I was too scared to scream or call my dad. I felt like I had to lay as still as possible and try to fake like I was asleep. Not the smartest idea, but I was only 5. It also didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like a human finger, tapping then pausing. It happened for maybe an excruciating 3 minutes, and then, the last morning I woke up, and my dog and I went down to work, my other job as a ski technician. When I returned home later that night, my back door was open. Still the only tracks to or from the house were mine and the parks. I searched the entire property, and still no new tracks. Searching the house, I found the bed had been slept on in the guest bedroom. That bed had been neat for weeks, and there was still an indentation of someone's head on the pillow. This was an old ranch, and I heard rumours that a few people had died in this cabin I live in. This is one of a few spooky encounters I had on the property. There was also rumours a few years back that the owner of this ranch, then a hunting lodge, had a daughter and that he did not treat her very well. Apparently she used to slave around the camp, performing harsh requests for her father to satisfy his quests. She was seen, heard, and felt by many guests staying in the ranch. We called her the Lady in Red. My cabin was not as active as some, but I felt a presence at times. One night I had a very hard time sleeping. I kept seeing something in my peripheral
Telecamera is,
vision.
you know.
While laying in bed in the
Oh,
dark,
yeah.
I saw something in my lazy boy chair in the corner of the room.
I will.
I'm pre-even keeled, so I just thought of something else and soon fell asleep.
You see,
I woke up a few hours later to my dog
I
sitting up in
have
the corner of my
seizures.
bed. I was not startled, so I calmly watched her. It seemed as
There's a
though
lot
something
Mummy
was
have.
petting her. My dog was enjoying it and licking the air. She was awake and sitting chin high.
I will wait.
After a few seconds of this, I sat up. The dog
If I
looked
don't
at me,
get nothing,
and
mate.
something felt as if it
seizure.
passed right through me.
Yep, Mum. That's
The dog
true.
ran into the other room,
Yep.
wagging her tail as if she was running after someone and she wanted to play. I had the same feeling of something passing through me at another point. In the summers, I did not live in this same cabin.
If she doesn't
I
have
lived in a room
nothing
attached to
her,
the kitchen, as
my
I
mum
was
will
the chef
see
of
that.
this ranch.
Yep, son.
Between my kitchen and my
That's
office
right.
room were the employee
Yep,
dining
Mummy
room.
Hall.
As I switched off the kitchen lights,
I know.
I was looking through the EDR towards my room, just as I saw something distorted coming from my room right at me. I froze, and this something passed through me once again. Just then the lights flickered. It's a very
My
weird
daddy
feeling,
will
and this was
come
my
home.
second time
I
feeling
know, I
the same.
understand, Daddy.
The head wrangler's room had the most activity.
No,
This thing
no.
was nothing more than a prankster.
Dad done what?
He was
Daddy,
always telling
Mummy
stories of
sees
something
the hall.
flying around the room.
I know.
Once, just after brushing his teeth, he left the bedroom and headed to bed. The toothpaste flew over his shoulders and landed on his bed. Pictures falling, electronics acting funky, all sorts of stuff, almost every single night. The scariest moment of my life happened while my friend and I were camping in eastern Canada as teenagers. We decided to sleep in this abandoned camper we found deep in a large forest that was near our town.
So I'm not born.
It had been there so long that small trees had grown around it. We'd stumbled across it when we were exploring a few months back
Yeah,
and thought it would be cool and brave to sleep there for a night. So one weekend we did. We arrived after dark because we had gotten lost trying to find the camper. We had a really low power flashlight, so it made it even more difficult. Once we finally found it, we opened the rusty door and stepped in. The sounds inside the camper were shrill and echoey. There were your typical camper things strewn about: cups, empty cans, swollen pulp fiction novels. Already tired, we holed up in one end of the camper where the bed area had originally been, before the cushions had rotted away to almost nothing. A long hallway stretched the length of the camper, so we could basically see from end to end. It was a miserable night. There were several rats living in there, and I saw them staring at us from a chewed-out part of the ceiling. When the wind blew outside the camper, it would shriek and groan. We even thought we could hear a bear outside too, walking around. Still, we feigned bravery and acted like we were having a good time, but we were on edge. At some point, I woke up from an uncomfortable sleep. I sat up to adjust myself when I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye. At the other end of the camper there was a small window, and as I looked at it, I saw a man's silhouette. He was clearly staring straight at me from outside. At first I thought maybe it was just a weird shape of a tree or something, but when I moved a bit to get a better look, the person clearly reacted and then froze. My heart was pumping, and I woke up to get my friend immediately saying there's someone over there. And, in a whisper, not taking my eyes off his profile. He woke up immediately and I nodded towards the window. He saw him too. He whispered frantically about who it could be and why he was staring at us. And for the next 10 minutes, no joke,
Love
we
you,
stared
Vicky,
him down.
Mummy.
The longer we
Love you
stared
too,
at him,
son.
the more frightened we got. He would occasionally move, but always kept his eyes locked on us. Eventually I shouted at him, but got no reaction. My friend was braver than me and decided to shine the flashlight at him, and as soon as he did, we realized our horrible mistake. It wasn't a
Sorry.
window at all on the other side of
Your
the
name
camper.
is
It was a mirror.
Emma.
We
Not
had been
fucking
staring
Vicky.
down ourselves from the very
Okay.
start. Completely idiotic still. It was the most fearful,
If a
relieving and
mistake,
funny
son.
moment of my life
Yeah,
that I'll never
none.
forget. Closest to the paranormal I've ever been. I'm from a really rural area, and have recently moved to the city for university. I started feeling a bit homesick and missing the countryside, so decided to go on a walk in the woods close to my accommodation, as I live in the outskirts of my city. It was still light when I started my walk, around 2 p.m. With it being winter, it's been getting to be pitch black at around 4:30. After about an hour and a half of walking, I noticed that it was starting to get pretty dark, so turned back because I didn't want to be in a forest I'd never been in before in total darkness, mainly in case I got lost. On my way back, I saw a guy maybe in his early 30s, obviously drunk with a plastic bag full of bottles of alcohol and muttering to himself. As I was on a path with steep slopes on either side, I was pretty much forced to walk past him, doing so with keeping as much distance as possible between myself and him, and keeping my eyes focused straight ahead. As soon as I passed him, his muttering became much louder, and I was sure he was trying to talk to me, but it was still unintelligible, so I ignored him. Then I heard him yelling and turned around to see
If I was that guy, I'll get pissed then.
There was around 10 meters between us. I still couldn't make out what he was saying, but he was walking quickly towards me and eyeing me up and down with a really creepy look on his face. Not wanting to have any trouble, especially considering I'd only seen one person quite a while beforehand, I simply said, "Nah, leave me alone." He clearly heard, as I saw him register my sentence through his drunken brain, yet he simply shook his head and carried on towards me. At this point I panicked, pulled out my cell phone and shouted, "I'll call the police." I know this was an empty threat, considering the fact I didn't even know the name of the forest, and knew that it would be a long time before the police would get to me. Not to mention my phone was on 10% before I'd even left, and knew that most of the battery had been drained taking photos. I guess in this case I was lucky, because he was drunk, and he froze. He put his hands up and mumbled, "Alright," before beginning to back away. I walked quickly away, looking several times over my shoulder to check if he was following me. It was probably a good thing I did, seeing as each time I looked he was facing me, maybe to check to see if I would notice before he could get to me. Like I said, this could have been nothing,
If I was that guy, I'll pull down my pants,
been a harmless drunk night that I blew out of
start
proportion.
wiping her.
Either way, next time I go for a walk, I'm taking my phone fully charged.
Start wiping her and making her scream and
I
shit.
went camping with my family.
Fucking dumb horse he
The
is.
setup
I know
was
it.
altogether
She is
14 of
dumb.
us, including my
You
baby
got them what,
niece
mummy?
and our friend's infant goddaughter,
Yep.
with people hopping in and out of the camp for work-related reasons. So the campsite was split in four, with my aunt and uncle on the top left, and my cousin, her husband, and her baby on the top right. The friend of the family, which includes 3 people and 1 baby, and finally the bottom right, where me, my cousin, her boyfriend, my mum, and my sister were situated. So everything went off without a hitch for most of the week, with everyone having an overall good time. But just as we thought everything was going great, a car pulled into the campsite next to me. 2 old, middle-aged men got out of
Come
the car,
with me
who we didn't think much of
if I
at
get a
first.
mansion.
It was later
Yes, please,
that night
son.
we got a taste of what we were in for. The way our campsite was positioned in the state
You
park,
can show your
we had
crappy
to walk
house
all
and
the way down
remove
the
to a big,
street to
big
get to the
mansion
bathroom.
board.
And this
Mummy
particular
hole.
part of the story was told to me
Yes.
by my cousin, and I'm not 100% sure how it really went down. So right as we were going to bed, my cousin, her boyfriend, and my aunt were all walking to the bathroom to change, when they were met with the sound of an agonizing scream, with one of the 2 men at the end of the road punching himself in the face
I know.
while screaming at the top of his lungs. Needless to say, they decided to turn around and go to a different bathroom. So the second experience happened to me when I woke up at 9 a.m. to the sound of the 2 men having a decently loud conversation. I had just woken up and the details were a bit fuzzy, but I vaguely remember them talking about how the FBI doesn't have anything on them, and how the government is making AI judges to destroy our children. Now all of this sounded crazy, and to be honest, I got a little chuckle out of it at first when I originally heard it. It was only when I walked to my aunt's campsite to eat breakfast and were hearing my cousin's story that made me start to realize that there was something seriously wrong with these people. my mum also had something strange happen to her. Right while I was helping my mum take down our tents to pack and put in our car to leave for dinner, I went to my aunt's campsite to get some water. My mum apparently heard one of the men say how he wasn't interested in sexually assaulting a woman of colour. But imagine that phrase said with all the appropriate profanities instead. At this point, we were both disgusted and deeply disturbed.
You should be happy
We
you
had started
done
to
more.
assume that these guys were both
Or
some sort of
unless you want
schizophrenic
and you're
neo-Nazis. However, that was not all.
You dumb bitch.
Halfway through the day, one of the guys left the campsite with the car to go do something, and me and my mum, thinking both of them were gone, saw it as an opportunity to go change our clothes. However, on our way to the bathroom, we once again saw the second man walking towards his campsite. We thought we were all good and walking back, thinking with no one to talk to, he would just be quiet and go about his day.
What that guy
Well,
said.
right as we thought that, we hear him
Oh, wait,
screaming at
those
someone at the
two.
top of his
They-
lungs. And as
they
we
obviously
walked
wanna
back to
get
the
right.
campsite, we noticed something.
They're
No
not
car
happy
and no other guy.
that
The
the
man
guy
was
said.
screaming at absolutely nothing. And I have no idea why, but it
Maybe go
absolutely
away,
shook me
wait
to my
then.
core.
Gang.
I'm an Army cadet in Canada, and about 4 times a year we do FTX, field training exercises, which is basically we go camping, usually at a scout camp, and do military-related outdoor training. This is about my first FTX. It was during one of our navigation exercises where we go around in small groups and follow coordinates to find a marker. Anyway, another cadet and I were in a group, and we got totally off track and decided to radio our commanding officer that we had gotten off track and we were going to head back to camp to restart. As we headed back, we noticed a guy in the forest looking at us. Obviously, we were kind of freaked out, so as we were first-year immature cadets, we decided it would be our best to look soldierish. While in our FTUs, we figured we could scare him off. As we go back to camp, we noticed the other group were back too. We were informed that there was a guy that crashed a stolen car by the camp we were at. The guy matched the description of the guy we'd seen. We had to stay in the small barn until they found him. And I
Aren't you
don't
part of
know
the
if
military?
you've ever
They should
eaten
have come.
an MRE.
Pa,
They
pa,
have
pa,
so
pa.
much packaging. We had to eat it in there, and I was
You have
on clean
guns,
up duty
right?
afterwards.
So
Most
if I can shoot
disturbing
the
part
cunt.
is the guy was armed when they
Pa
found
pa
him,
pa.
and he was wanted on 2 murder convictions.
You see? Shoot the cunt. But no, military's dumb, and so is cops.
Last August,
Gang
my
gang.
husband had 2 murder convictions.
Another one.
What was hanging out at our campsite for so long, or why these dudes
Another
decided to camp so close to us in the middle of an empty forest. But we bought a gun pretty quickly after this relaxing weekend away. I may not be an expert, but I do believe that there is more to this world than we understand. For all my life, I've had a very fine-tuned sense for sensing things that some might be unable to explain. Later in life, I would learn, or be told, that I have some kind of supernatural energy by a Wiccan witch. Nothing too impressive, but just enough to let me feel entities even if I can't see them, like the ghost in my grandparents' guest room, or the malicious entity haunting the stairs of basement and garage. The same uncanny sixth sense that my mum observed when my younger brother was born, stronger than her own maternal sense, to the point I understood when my brother needed something, before even he knew and could make a sound, even waking minutes before him in the middle of the night without fail. But I think there's more to it than that. And this incident, as you will soon hear, is what leads me to believe this. My family had recently moved to British Columbia, Canada. That winter, I was 10, and while we were by no means in the boonies, we lived in an old trailer near a well-known hiking trail and a small Christmas tree farm. Immediately, there was something off about the area, something that my parents waved off as new home anxiety, or just not being used to the place. I did my best to put it out of my mind, and within 2 weeks of the move, I began to notice strange things happening. Firstly, the unsettling aura that I couldn't shake. Sleepless nights, as I felt like there was something that was watching me from the window. Strange shadows there one second, gone the next. Voices soft, whispering my name, and only when I was alone and in my room near the window. However, these incidents happened soon after, and I felt something brush against my shin and ankle, something that lessened the aura for at least a while. These instances, there was the same red car just a few camping spots down from ours. After that, I was ready to get out of there, just knowing that perhaps the same person was just a few spots down from me. A college buddy and I were out one night in my hometown during summer break. I was obviously still living at home with my parents, and he was down for the weekend. It's a pretty small town, nothing to do there, so we found ourselves wandering around for a bit.